As a neutral country, Sweden's intelligence work operated somewhat differently. The IS-3 had made its public debut in 1945, its appearance caused a serious shock wave through Western military commands, and by 1950, Swedish engineers were acutely aware of its imposing presence. Scared of the IS-3 fleet, Sweden suddenly realized their tank are hopelessly outdated and urgent need for a modern heavy tank. Experts studied available tanks, including the German King Tiger, Tiger II, which France provided for evaluation and research purposes after World War II, seeking to form military ties with Sweden. That is why France generously shared information about their latest technology, including the AMX-M4 prototype. Swedish engineers were impressed by the AMX-M4, and later, the AMX-50, particularly its oscillating turret with an autoloader, which promised a very high rate of fire. This design offered advantages in weight saving, reduced overall size, and faster firing. However, the AMX-50, weighing almost 55 tons at that point, was deemed too heavy and large for Sweden's specific requirements, especially compared to the already sizable Centurion. A new tank would be designed around Sweden's unique requirements. The tank needed to be fast, with a power-to-weight ratio of around 20 horsepower per ton. Its armor was intended to match or surpass the IS-3, capable of stopping its 122mm cannon. At the same time, a 30-ton requirement was initially set due to local bridge capacities, though the project's weight would later grow. Thus, project began its life in 1951, initially designated Emil, project number 6400, and given the cover name Kranvagn, KRV, meaning crane wagon or mobile crane, to maintain secrecy. Three main gun calibers were considered: a 12 cm L40 rifled gun, a 15 cm L40 smoothbore gun, and a 10.5 cm L67 gun. After careful research of different cannons and ammunition, the 15 cm was preferred, with a 15/11 cm subcaliber heat round being considered. The primary reason for considering the DS shell was that it allowed for reduced pressure in the cannon while maintaining a decent muzzle velocity, leading to lower wear and tear on the gun. The loading mechanism for the tank was already being designed, inspired by the AMX-50 project's oscillating turret and drum autoloader. However, the Swedish design required modifications to the turret itself. Unlike typical oscillating turrets of the time, such as the AMX-50 or T-57 prototype, the Emil featured a newly designed oscillating turret. While typical oscillating turrets consist of two parts, a lower section for horizontal traverse and an upper section housing the gun and its loader that pivots for elevation, this design often limited the ability to add heavy armor to heavy tank standards. The Emil featured a new, unique turret that combined aspects of both traditional and oscillating turret designs. Essentially, its turret face remained fixed in place, while the gun and its loading mechanism pivoted for elevation. For the hull, to meet heavy tank standards, it required significant armor at the front while having to keep weight in check. As a result, the Emil featured a very low profile and a well-angled frontal plate. By 1952, it even adopted the pike nose hull design, influenced by the Soviet IS-3, to further improve armor effectiveness. Three main models were considered, differing in armament, engine, and armor layout. As requirements continued to grow, the Emil 3 variant gained attention and became the focus for the new tank, retaining the cover name Kranvagn or KRV. Two companies worked on the prototype. Bofors was responsible for designing the turret and weapon system, while Landsverk worked on the hull and running gear. Landsverk proceeded on schedule, but Bofors encountered significant difficulties in developing the new turret, struggling to find proper solutions for the new shells, autoloader, and stabilization system. The engine, hull, and transmission performed well in tests. However, the gun system was not ready, leading to a spherical concrete mock-up being fitted to the hull for running gear trials. There was also an idea to mount a Centurion Mk-10 turret onto the existing Kranvagn chassis, which would have addressed the Centurion's known mobility issues. However, the Swedish Army eventually decided it would be simpler and more cost-effective to purchase complete Centurion Mk-10 tanks instead. In the end, like many IS-3 killer projects, the Emil project continued to grow in requirements, encountering significant development delays and technical issues. With the availability of the newly developed L7 cannon, which equipped the Centurion Mk-10, Sweden no longer had an immediate need for a new heavy tank to rival the IS-3, leading to the project's discontinuation. Sweden did not want to waste a good hull. One of the prototype hulls was converted into a self-propelled gun configuration, eventually becoming the BK-1. The remaining prototype had 4 of its road wheels removed and was fitted with equipment for testing the hydraulic suspension, as well as a fixed 20-pounder gun, and was used as a test rig for the development of the S-tank, Kranvagn 103.